Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and on today, episode 321, we're going to feature an amazing house at 7837 L Pastel Drive, and it is a amazing remodel home.
It is, and in our second segment today, we're going to talk about some fun things that Weston's found on the internet that they somewhat pertain to real estate, but they're interesting.
They're home.
Yeah, they're home.
They're home. It's all good stuff. It's funny. So you know what? While we were getting ready to go to lunch, I saw on IG what is happening. Well, it happened about 2 hours ago. The goats came out at North Haven.
Oh, really?
They have them out there, and they are chowing down on, I guess, all the growth over there. Mm-hmm. Is that what the deal is?
Well, it's all of this growth that includes a lot of the wildflower sections that have now gone dormant. But they could mow it down, or they could have the goats out there and clean it up and feed the goats.
I think it's an amazing thing. I wish more people would do this. I mean, if you watch this little video right here, whoever brought the goats, I mean, somebody brought 75 head of goats out here. And I think what a cool way to see the impact that these little animals have. They can get down to it. I always joke and tell people, oh, just bring goats. They'll get everything taken care of. So yeah, good stuff.
That's funny.
I loved it.
They call it North Haven Tales.
North Haven Tales? That's cute. Good for them. Good marketing. Way to go, North Haven. We appreciate that. What else is going on?
Went to my first Texas OU game this weekend.
Oh, you did. Well, you know, I have to say that no offense to any OU, but I thought y'all really were going to win, and so I congratulated a lot of y'all prior to the game. And I guess it didn't go that way, did it?
It didn't go that way. But and even a lot of the Texas fans that we talked to, so this was my first experience, and it was a great experience.
Good for you.
We went and we tailgated at the Dart train station.
Oof.
Had breakfast burritos, had margaritas, had coffee.
The full
and
experience.
It was so funny that we were, my buddy Ray and Bob had brought tables and set up where the food was, and we had all the drinks out, and there were people that were pulling up in the parking lot getting ready to get on the train that you could tell walking by were like, I think I know what I'm going to do next year.
Y'all were set.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
The experience was fun, though. If you've never been to a college game, especially one with that kind of rivalry, you got to do it one time.
You know, I heard that one of the unique things about that rivalry is that it's on neutral ground, and that not all rivalries are on that. So
There are only three.
Three?
Zach, Southern, and the Bayou Classic is one.
Bayou Classic?
The Red River
Shootout.
rivalry, and there's a Georgia-Florida game that plays on neutral ground in Jacksonville. It's not only three of them in the country.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you had a good time. Did you get sunburned? You don't look
No,
sunburned.
I didn't. I could have, though. I mean, I soaked up in that stuff, though. And that sun was like right there beating on my head. I mean, everybody that was sitting there.
I was in the yard, so I was like, oh, Jeff, I hope you were covered in sunscreen.
Yeah.
That was good times. All right, jumping over, let's talk about some market watch. Not to be so abrupt, but this is when we talk about what's happening in Dallas. We are trying to strip away all of the shenanigans and all the hype and really just focus on what is actually going on. We're always hearing about price reductions. That is a fact right now. I think that is probably one of the most consistent things that we've seen are the price reductions, and the days on market have increased.
So there was an article in the Dallas Morning News e-letter or whatever you call it last week, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, that said over 1/3 of houses experience price reduction. And I was like, that's not right. We looked it up, and it's 70% of the houses that sold in the last year have experienced a price reduction before they sold.
Well, the Business Journal put an article in there. Wish I would have pulled it up, but they interviewed some random third-party broker that I was like, what? This didn't, I don't know. It seemed very biased.
Probably his high school
Anyway, whatever.
roommate,
Congratulations.
or college roommate.
But I want to point out how interesting to me I think this is because, you know, if the marketing department of like a publication decided to really like amp it up, they could say coming soons are down 22%. Well, nobody knows that that's not a required field, you know, so they might get super nervous about that. Whereas You know, when you look at pendings or solds, they could really put the numbers to that. But we all know that this is the time of the month, just based because everything's going to start closing next week and the week after, that this is normally where it lies.
And this is, I think our information is always fresher than the others because, you know, we look at what happened last week.
Right.
Where, you know, like Dallas Morning News articles probably look at what happened last month.
That's true.
NAR looks at things that, you know, would have happened over the last quarter. But, you know, this is like real data.
It is. And, you know, the great thing is that we're able to pull this for just about any area. We can cross-reference zip codes, school districts, neighborhoods specifically. So if you have information, let us know, because don't believe hype. Get the real data.
Interest rates are still running, you know, six and a quarter-ish.
Yeah, they had a little bit of drop, but you can still get it in the fives for a point or so, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
So good stuff. Let's switch it up and let's get to why we're here. And let's talk about 7837 El Pastor Drive in Dallas, Texas. This is 75248, which is just a little north of 635. This is a great neighborhood, Jeff. When we were driving up in here, I thought this could be, if you do not want the suburbs, like you don't want to commute all the way up there to Plano, Frisco, Allen, Princeton, whatever, I would definitely lean into this neighborhood.
It was a very, there was a marked change when you drove into the neighborhood.
100%.
Yeah, just really well cared for. Felt like there was nobody in the neighborhood who was the bad neighbor. And this was really such a, I think, a well done home. You know, super convenient. You can hit I-35, or I'm sorry, 635 very easily. All you got to do is just come down Coit Road, which is the way that we left the neighborhood. And that was a 2-mile drive down there.
One of the things that I like when you're looking at neighborhoods is I like the garage entry to be on the back, because I just think it makes the neighborhood more attractive when there's less cement.
Yep, I agree.
And so for me, that was one of the things that kind of caught my attention. If you're not from Dallas, one of the things that we're keeping our eye on is there's a chance that there's going to become in the next 10 years a really productive third airport to Dallas, and that'll be in McKinney. And this would be a really good step to that if you didn't want to go to DFW, if you didn't want to go to Love Field, which are both great and you can get to in less than 20, 30 minutes. So we are very spoiled with our airports around here.
I would agree.
So what do locals love, Jeff?
And one of the things that locals love is deli news, and that is in just, it's within a mile or so of this house. Deli news is really kind of an old style traditional deli that's been around since the mid 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
87.
87. And it is just a very, very popular place to go.
It is.
We've been there a couple of times.
It's where I had matzo ball for the first time. I loved it. I fell in love with it at that point. So yes, this is a great place. Locals love, locals know. One of the things also that's really, really growing and is caught on is UTD. And so I say this, and I wanted to bring this up because UTD, you know, just had a huge release where they had Trammell Crow created a huge art contingency or facility out there. They are known for their CEO Masters program. We've had clients that actually sent their son in robotics and now works for Rivian. I played pickleball with a guy that got his engineering degree here in electronics. It's one of the #1 engineering departments in the United States. I had no idea.
Jimmy got his engineering degree there.
It's in our backyard.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, the school started in the 60s, but it was started by a group of founders from Texas Instruments that wanted to have this level of education to feed in to become employees of their company.
How smart is that?
Yeah, and their first building, it's called the Founders Building, opened in 67, I think, and it has just continued to grow and grow and grow. It was initially only a 2-year college, and then it really, you know, I mean, turned into the 4-year. Now it's got master's programs, and
it's amazing.
It really is.
It is definitely worth putting on your list as more and more people are thinking about what are alternatives to some of the larger schools. So great idea. And also, so we've talked about food, we've talked about higher education. Let's talk about what to get outside and do. And so if you need to play some golf, if you need to play some tennis, there are actually 3 really great places, probably within 8 minutes from here.
You have Bentry Golf Course, which is a very well-known golf course that was started in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. You also have the Clubs of Prestonwood, which also known as Prestonwood Country Club. That's realtors have had so many events out there. It's like I'm a member of that club, but I've never played golf
Honorary.
there. Yeah. And Northwood Country Club, which is right off of Arapahoe in a very nice, I feel like it's a very residential area immediately around it. But it's a beautiful country club.
So lots of good options for you to get outside and enjoy. Plus there's trails out there. So anyway, trying to share with you the difference that you can have out here in this area, which is really great. So without further ado, let's take a look at 7837 El Pastel Drive.
This is such a cute house. Very simple from the front, but there's nothing. I don't know. It just flows together very well.
It did. So one of the things that I really appreciated was the way that the color palette worked. So from the outside, the curb appeal was right. I like that there's different colors. It's not all one color. I feel like sometimes we'll get really stuck in that. Detailing is here and there that I thought worked out. You don't see it quite as much, but they did put Japanese maple in, which I thought was really great. When you walk into the floor plan, I am a sucker for everything having the exact same paint, especially on new homes, and also for the flooring to be continuous throughout. Later on, you can set it the way you want, but I think it's important for buyers to be able to walk in and visualize what they could. And so it's a very open floor plan, as you see here, where we've transitioned into a dining room. They've replaced all the windows, which I think is a really bonus in this area. You're going to see light fixtures throughout here that I thought they were really smart in the way they chose the colors and also the size and the location of these light fixtures.
Yeah, especially that one in the living room that is kind of the ceiling hugger, but it has the three arms that come out. That was a really smart move.
It is smart. Here we see that they've got a reconfiguration so that they created this office space that they also gave with the doors. I think that a lot of times they forget to put the doors on, and as so many people work from home, I think we've got to have that. So opening up, this gives us a really great, as Jeff was talking about, the light fixture in this living room. This is a really good living room in that it transitions both from the dining room, the kitchen, and into a second seating area. So it all just kind of works out. Warm colors. I thought they did such a great job. It's staged, but it works so well.
Yeah, oh, it really did. And I love the brick fireplace. I love the hearth that they put, the mantle that they did with it. It just tied into the house and tied into the floor so well. I don't feel like this is one of those homes that when the staging is gone is going to look very different.
That's a good point, Jeff. That is true, because I do feel like there are times when the staging is so dramatic or it's so not what people buy that you're like, what's the house going to look like when it's gone?
Yeah.
I feel like the colors work, again, I'm going to say that, but that anyone can slide in there and their stuff will look great. I like that they did the gas cooktop, the tile backsplash all the way to the ceiling. They put the microwave below instead of above. I think that's kind of a nice design feature. All the cabinets, I like the way that they were done. And there's a couple of places throughout the house where they did a couple extra through the hallway. Just some really smart processing of how we live today.
There was a reconfiguration of the bedroom wing of this house that I thought was done very smartly, because it did allow them to create those cabinets down the hallway that are not right up at the edge of it, but they've got a little bit of they're recessed just a bit, but they're still full 18-inch depth cabinets. And then you've got three really great bedrooms down that hallway, including the master. And I think that reconfiguration allowed them to create a huge master closet in this.
It did, and so this is the master. I love the one window above the bed. I think that's smart. I'm a sucker for symmetrical. I also like my ceiling fans to completely disappear when we step into the master. Again, the same type of cabinet with the same trim. This is a paint grade versus, or a stain grade versus paint, as we saw in the kitchen. Sconces, I like the mirrors as well. It's all tailored. And this is that closet you were talking about.
Huge.
It is, because you don't really see the full closet because the door is offset to the right. And when you step in, you're like, oh, it's decent. But then you kind of pivot. And I was like, that thing went on for another 5 feet.
Yeah. So. Really great outdoor space. Nice pergola. So you've got some protection from the sun. There are so many things you could do with this backyard. I mean, you can leave it the way that it is and be absolutely perfect. But you've got, if you wanted to put a pool in at some point, if you had big dogs that you needed to have run, this is a great space.
I thought it was, I mean, fence, we've got that taken care of. Lawn, we've got sprinkler system. I am really thankful that they showed this right here because you can see how much more space you have. When you look down that hall, that space is a little bit bigger than it seems because there's closet space in there, but it's a really good way to kind of get the configuration. And one of the things that we did was we wanted to impress upon how many upgrades have been done to this home.
There really have been so many heavy lifting items done. You know, when you're talking about the foundation, the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrical, the windows, the roof, but there's not much left you have to do.
No, because
maintenance.
Well, the pretty is done and it looks great, but when that heavy lifting, like we talk about, is done, that's when it's like a 1 and a 2. And I think it's really smart. Laura uploaded all this information into MLS, which really does help everybody make that decision.
So this is 7837 El Pastel Drive in Dallas. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, just over 2,400 square feet, and it is priced at $825,000, which is, I think, a smoking deal for the quality of house you get.
Heck yeah. So we want to say thank you so much to Laura Harmon for allowing us to feature this home. In the comments, you're going to see a link. You can click on that link, go through the pictures. We did not use all of them just for time's sake. Scroll in and out on that map, share it with someone who you think might be interested. And if you'd like to see it, please let us know. We'd be happy to show it to you.
And guess what's up next?
Tell us, Jeff.
It is, what do we call it?
What do we call it?
Weston's Home Product Finds.
Yeah, that is, I need to update that picture or that cartoon. Woo! That's a good one. Yeah, this is what, so when I am on IG, I'm always looking at like tips and tricks, usually for art and ceramics, but I have an entire section dedicated to, I call it things for the show. And so my things for the show file has filled up. And let's take a look at what I thought was interesting. So we're gonna let that play through once and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so this answers the age-old question, where does the light fixture go in the dining room?
Well, I think it answers more of the question, where can we put the dining room table?
A fair assessment, because a lot of times you're right, you're stuck, or you see people swag it over and it looks stupid. I'm like, ugh. But this thing allows it to spin and extend. So I think that's the beauty in it. I think it's a smart color palette too. So put it in there, make it work.
And I mean, just like in this instance, they just wanted to change the table from one direction, 90 degrees to the other.
Yeah.
And that was what facilitated or necessitated the lighting change.
Perfect.
But so you could do it this way for 6 months or do it the other way for 6 months. It gives you a lot of flexibility.
Have friends over, play cards. You need to do something. This allows it to work. So this is a win-win for me. All right, what's next, Zach Attack? You know I had to bring that one up. I'm a sucker for a banquette.
They make a lot of sense, especially in smaller dining areas. This one's they're creating more of a living space, I feel like here, which is certainly a great use of the space. That really gives you a lot of flexibility.
I think it does. I think it doesn't just have to be in a dining room. I think you could use that configuration in a landing on the second floor and squeeze a table in near a bay window. I think smart. I love that. Yes. I want to know what y'all think. All right, what's number 3, Zachy?
So you're going to have to watch this a few times to actually see all of the detail that's put into this. I didn't notice the lighting on the backside of the door until the 4th or 5th time that I watched this.
This makes me wish I would have waited and put this in at our house. This would have been so much easier. I guess you get to configure what you want. So this person chose the egg, a grill, it comes with a sink. There's a bunch of configurations. I think it's smart. I also like the fact that there's covered over that. They also put the vent so that when you grill, you turn the vent on, it pulls all the smoke out.
And I think it's interesting that they had to hire a crane to bring that in. But it shows flexibility that if you've got a backyard that you're kind of stuck into, you can do things like this.
You know, the minute when I saw this, I was like, Montego Plaza.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, oh, that would work perfectly on our slab. I should have done that. Should have done that.
Is the future. Now these are ground screws. Most people still pour concrete slabs for garden offices, which involves days of digging, mixing and waiting. I skipped all of that by installing this system. There's no mess, no drying time. You just drill them in and you've got a solid level base to build your office from on the same day. They are strong, fast, reusable and way more eco-friendly than concrete, and they barely touch the rest of your garden. Honestly, this one decision will make the build that much easier. If you want to see how this all comes together, watch the full garden office build from start to finish right here. Oh, stop wasting time with concrete.
So I like the concept of it. It is certainly going to be more eco-friendly than pouring a big slab of concrete out there. You're probably going to be able to have a lot more stability than pouring a slab of concrete out there, because you can, once you get those screwed in and everything's leveled, you can see the connection pieces that they have there that you set your beams directly down on top of those screws and tie them right in. So, if it needs to be 6 inches above the ground, or maybe you've got an unlevel space that you're trying to put something, these would allow you to level that out.
Yeah. The other thing, that's true, Jeff. That would really take the topography out of the equation. Mm-hmm. But I think that there should have been like a cutout where you could slide a pole through or something for the device, and say you had to, like, rather than shim it, like maybe you needed to back it out or lower it down to adjust your height. And maybe it does, I just don't see it. But I thought, oh my gosh, that would be a quick, stable way. And I like the fact that they said they were usable. So you're like, oh, wait a second, I want a bigger configuration. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I thought it was a really interesting idea. But our soil is the only thing I'm questioning on whether they would work. And this is a Dale Buchanan question. We'll have to show this to Dale and get Dale to give us his thoughts. Alrighty.
Next.
And all the plumbing pre-connected. It is a true plug full play, swim the same day pool delivered directly to you. Watch how this 3-meter container pool with an optional stay module become the ultimate solution for any size.
If you're limited in space and you really want a pool, I think that's probably 5 foot deep. I mean,
it says 3 meters.
3 meters. Okay, so it's 6 feet deep.
Maybe.
No, 3 meters.
Yeah,
it's going to be 9 foot deep.
That must be wide. So I always like to think about things because, there are so many times when backyard space is at a premium. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always like, what can you do? This is a great fix. Great. And it's going to work right away. The other thing too is I feel like you could cover it so you could keep the pool relatively clean a lot.
Yeah.
And how easy would it be to heat that thing? Anyway, I thought it was great. And I'm a sucker for shipping container stuff. Mm-hmm. I like to see the recycling portion of the world.
That get manufactured by robots. And the crazy part, a 10-year-old can design a structurally sound house because AI handles all the hard stuff. So here's how you use it. You drag and drop rooms like you're playing The Sims. The AI instantly makes sure your design meets building codes and optimizes everything from structural support to energy efficiency. Then you hit manufacture and a fully automated factory starts building. No human hand touches it. And the result is that houses cost 1/4 of the price to build. So something that previously cost $100,000 could now cost $25,000. And because robots build it, the quality is actually better than traditional construction. But this isn't a prototype. It's happening right now. You can now build a house.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think he's overselling it a little bit.
Got it.
I do think the concept is correct, and I think it is something that we're going to see a lot more of. The part of this that really makes sense to me is a lot of times when people or designers are putting a house together, they're not putting it together without being able to think about how does this comply with code as of this moment. You know, designers a lot of time are more focusing on the aesthetic point of it as opposed to the functional point of it.
I like the cost of it. I think and the speed at which it can be built. I did not hear him say anything about, I thought that he said something, but then re-listening to it, electrical and plumbing, HVAC. These are the things that I want to know that it covers.
Yep.
But I think, you know, I visited with one of our friends that's a builder, and he said that he thinks there's going to be in the next 10 years a huge push for this to be more of a mainstream. So that is one of the concerns that he's like, this could really impact architects. You know, not the architects that are building huge and, you know, one-offs, but just kind of like more of the, you know, everyday architect. Because I got to tell you, I used ChatGPT to help design a room, and it worked. So I mean, the science is here, and it will only continue to get better. All right, last one.
Last one, I love this.
And they say, they're all different colors. No, that's the point. Real ePay has color variation. We're out
taking a look at the new Pioneer ePay. 72 boards in this scan before any of these patterns repeat themselves. This is a glass reinforced bamboo PVC composite 3D photo print. So what I'm telling you is if you see a knot, you can feel a knot. It's a 50-year warranty board, just a stunning print here. This stuff is as real as a synthetic deck board as ever.
What do you think? Okay, so I have experience with Trek, which is like the first composite that they made. And for it to have no repeats and 72 boards, and it's 16 feet long, and it's more of a matte finish, I think it's a win. My only question is going to be how hot does it get, because the Trek gets hot in a different way than wood does.
Yeah, this is PVC product, so yes, that very well might be an issue. I do like the 3D printing that they're doing here, where he specifically says if it looks like it's got a knot and you run your hand on it, it's going to feel like it's got a knot.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
it's going to come across as a much more natural product, but just something that's going to last a lot longer.
I think one of the things that you have to be mindful of is who's installing it, because they have to understand it takes a separate kind of screw, and if you don't do that right, it does kind of mess with it. And it's not cheap, but it's cheaper than ePay, but it's just not like wood cheap.
Yeah.
So fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Hope you found this helpful. If there's anything else that you would like us to talk about, just let us know.
And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.